That's twisted.
Welcome to the twist with Mark and Rick. Always fun, always clicking the best way. Here to stay.
That's twisted.
Images of Josephine all over the place.
Stay tuned.
Accessible to people of all different
Yeah, you
levels.
know it's time to start. Tune in, let's play our part. Coming to you from the heart.
That's twisted.
Welcome to the Twist Show 334. This is Mark McNease it's going to be really sticky here today in New Jersey, Rick. I don't know what it's like there, but I got a little story about that. What's going on there?
Well, I haven't been outside yet. Usually I do all that before I hop on the show, but it's a little behind schedule. I've been traveling for a week, so it was nice to be in my own bed. You know what that's like, and kind of took my time rolling out of it. But what I'm thinking, 85 degrees is going to be muggy out there. Yes, I think we'll have a muggy day here in Madison, Wisconsin.
Well, I spend most of my time in the living room where my desk is, and it's kind of like my space since I don't have my own writing room. But the air conditioner broke. It was a piece of crap air conditioner that was here when I met Frank 20 years ago, and it finally just crapped out. The good news is I got a new one from Best Buy. Give them a shout out for like $275, whatever the hell it was. It wasn't a whole lot, but it's really powerful. It's really cool. It works so good. So now I can just hang out in the living room with the AC on. But how do you like my hat?
I do. I like it. It's very subtle rainbow-ish, but not quite.
I made it myself. We went to a tie-dye party. I think I talked about that the last time.
Yeah.
It was a little church auction thing, and we had a lot of fun. And we made hats and T-shirts. Now, the hat's a little too small for my head, but as a style kind of thing, I like the fact that it just sits on my head like that.
Huh. I kind of like it. And you wear a good, you got a big head no matter what. So
yes,
you
I
wear a good hat.
And I wear it well. I had doing the personals. I had two really good workshops last week. I did the Pine Run University. That's what they call it. It's a bunch of speakers and presenters and come to Pine Run Village in Doylestown, which is a senior living complex. It's quite big. That went really well. One of the women asked me if I would do a writer's workshop, advanced writer's workshop for them for pay. I said, of course. And then Bristol, Pennsylvania was really good. I think I talked about those last week. It doesn't matter. The Bristol, Pennsylvania was on Saturday, so I definitely did not talk about that. The library there, and that went really well too. And then air conditioner broke, blah, 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 blah. We're going to see my sister in Pennsville, New Jersey tomorrow for 2 nights. We go twice a year, really. We always go at Christmas time, not Christmas Eve. Oh, yeah. Is it Christmas Eve? Anyways, we go for 2 nights right before Christmas, then we come home. So that's going to be fun. Nice. And there's got to be more stuff, but I don't have anything right now.
Yes, you do. I'm sure you have tons of things. Or you have a whole weekend ahead of you to make new history.
Well, we have a lot coming up. I booked my my annual mani-pedi in Provincetown when we go at the end of August. I'm doing a workshop in Philadelphia, I'm on a panel with mystery writers of America, New York in October. And I know one of the authors, Ann Aptaker, so I'm really excited about that. And our friends Phil and Jim are going to go with us. We're going to spend 2 nights in Philly, Thursday and Friday, and then the panel will be Saturday. So I'm happy about that. And I'm going to be on the board again. The board of the Mystery Writers New York chapter. I volunteered, so I think I'm going to be overseeing. They have an annual award named after Leon Burstein, and it's really a nice award. It's like 2,000. They have is it 6,000 that they split 3 ways? But yeah, it's like it's a lot of money. It's at least $2,000 for each winner, which is great.
Oh,
but it's got to be a debut novel. It's got to be a novelist who hasn't been published. So, and I'm going to be just organizing that. So that's my life. I'm happy. Could not be happy.
You know what my grandma would be saying to you right now? Mark, stop playing with your face.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was. I scratched my face for anybody who's not watching. Something happened. I was in the garden getting our vegetables, and I think I must have hit my face on something. I almost sprained twisted my ankle again. You got to be really careful when the ground is not even. And our garden is the ground is really not even at all. And I was mowing it with my little hand mower, and my ankle went. A couple years ago, that was really bad. I did that. It was really horrible. I cracked a tibula or fibula or something like that.
Ooh, Well, that's what I mean, it could have been a wild plant or something, like, I don't know. And like I was saying last week on the show, when I traveled in Sedona, you have to be careful at our age because a small fall down can really result in, some major stuff. You know what I mean?
And you notice how when you get older, it probably starts before now, maybe at 50, you start talking about old people stuff. That's what I said the other day. We were all talking about medications and shit. And I said, we're just talking old people stuff. When you get old, that's what you do. What a lot of people do.
It's
because
very funny.
You got aches and pains and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. My cousin was up. So I was up my vacation, heading to my personal page. My vacation was mostly in northern Wisconsin. Then I ended up in Green Bay, saw some family there as well. My niece and her husband and kids lived there. So that was nice. My mom was able to join for that part too, from Eagle River down to Green Bay. And then I headed home. Green Bay was a conference, the substance use conference for the state of Wisconsin, but 1,800 attendees, people that work in the field. And that was really interesting to see the tone change from years and years of work on harm reduction to having to talk about it and frame it as prevention. So you can only imagine, you've got these people that know the work we've done have saved lives, and all of a sudden, because of the threat, the feds are breathing down on our backs. On the state and county level, we have to talk about and frame everything as prevention. But nonetheless, while I was up in northern Wisconsin, my cousin came up with her husband celebrating 48 years of their marriage. And I thought, oh my God, I started reflecting on her wedding and what they wore. And they had like little parasols, and the husbands had canes and top hats, or the one husband and his people that stood up for him. But it was just fun to think, like 58 years ago, she and I were playing with my other cousins. We were playing school. She was a teacher. I was a student. Why did we play school when we weren't in school? And we thought it'd be fun to play school. I don't know.
Why did we play that? Why did we play doctor when we're not doctors? I don't get it.
I know. Why don't we play garbage men? Or I guess we play firefighters, cops and robbers.
Play writer. Play podcaster. Let's play. You and I are playing podcasters. We've been doing it a long time.
Who has ever played podcasters as kids? Do you think they do?
No,
I don't think so.
Nobody
either.
wants to grow up to do this. I'm telling you.
I tell you, there's a new McFlurry at McDonald's. It's called the Derpy, DERPY. For those that know, it's about the K-pop Demon Hunters movie. Guess there's a Derpy the tiger in it, but it's a vanilla soft serve with berry popping pearls and a wild berry sauce. So yeah, they're incorporating, the little boba tea pearls into the Derpy.
Crazy.
They're Derpies. That's a good word. Do you like it?
Yeah.
I think it's fun. I think it's a fun word. So I do want to announce that last week we were able to crown my new royalty for Miss Wisconsin Volunteer program I've been involved with for a long time. Originally, as you know, Mark, I was involved in the Miss America program maybe about 5 to 7 years ago. I think 5 years ago, organization split off called the Miss Volunteer America program, which has gotten steam in 5 years. And it's a force to be reckoned with. People are really keeping an eye on it as being the premium pageant program. And so, yeah, I appointed a new Miss Teen, a new Miss. And then I was able to appoint Miss Illinois Sweetheart and Miss Wisconsin Sweetheart. They go down and compete in Hubston, Illinois over Labor Day weekend, those two young women, in the National Sweetheart Pageant. So it's a big sweet corn festival. It's been going on 75 plus years, and they go and they represent their states down there in a pageant, which is a lot of fun. But just this weekend, history was made, get this, Mark, in Cobb County, Georgia, where history was made with the crowning of the new Teen 2027. For the first time in history, in the Miss America organization, 3 sisters have consecutively held the exact same title of Miss Cobb County 2025, 2026, and 2027. Isn't that wild?
That is crazy.
History being made. Another thing I want to point out, shout out, I've called them out on the show before, is a positive. It's Belt's Ice Cream. It's family owned. It's in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, which is about dead center of our state. So I stop there when it's open. It's seasonal because it's a soft serve place. But they now serve almond milk soft serve. Not just soft serve, but if you want almond milk like you would in your coffee or Starbucks or wherever, the trend for nut milks, they do it right here in the heart of Wisconsin, which surprises me. But they then use almond milk, and they do smoothies now. So you can go and I walked up to the window, Mark, ready to have a hot fudge marshmallow malt, and instead switched over to a mango smoothie using almond milk. Smart choice,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
Also, I just want to announce that Pearson's nut rolls. You know the old nut rolls, like candy.
I think so. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm hoarding up on them. You should too, because after 80 years, they're not making them anymore. They're going away. No more nut rolls. They've laid off 80 people, I think, and yeah, just changing. Do want to shout out too, real quick, to Superman making box office history, the highest weekend of any movie ever. This would be the current Superman, and I did find it interesting because you remember years ago it was Barbie and the same director of Superman directed that movie called, what was it called? But the guy that made the bomb.
Oppenheimer.
Remember, it was a Barbie Oppenheimer summer.
Yes.
And everybody's like,
but it wasn't years ago. It was like 3 years ago.
Well, to me, that's
4 years ago. You make it sound like it was like a long, long time ago.
Anything longer than a year ago is ancient. But yeah, I think it's kind of interesting because the box office success movie theaters are experiencing, which is great to see it come back, is really with Superman and also with The Odyssey. Both movies star Tom Holland and Zendaya. So that's kind of interesting to think the two top movies started. Both of them, you probably saw the news. They did privately host a wedding reception on August 4th. So they got married behind our back, so to speak, at Beaverbrook Hotel in Surrey, UK, with family and friends. So
who are you talking about?
Tom Holland and Zendaya.
Oh, okay, I lost track of them. Sorry.
Well, you were obviously not invited.
They're not on my Insta.
Well, they need to be. They need to be back on your Insta. Oh, and one last thing, Mark. I think this is cool. Popsicle, for the first time in 104 years, is making packaging where you can just get cherry popsicles, just lime popsicles, just orange popsicles. Before, for 104 years, we had to buy all the popsicles, the assortment. Now you can buy the separate packages. Isn't that something?
Well, it's about time, too.
It's about time. I don't eat them. Do you like them?
No, I don't eat them.
Okay, so one last thing I was going to tell you before the show started. I said, oh, okay, I don't want to share it on the show, but I'm going to. So you talk openly about you're on Zepbound, right? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay, so I was on Ozempic and I was on it for diabetes control, but it kept my weight in check. So I decided, hey, I'm going to catch up with Mark, playing podcaster and all, and with my friends who lose weight on the trizepatides, right? Which is a little different than the Ozempics. Guess what? I weighed myself this morning. I am 16 pounds heavier since I've started that drug. So something's not working. What?
Well, you would know it's not working if you were eating less. That's weird.
Well, I don't want to eat as much,
16?
but I force myself. 16 pounds heavier.
Yeah, something's not right. What dosage are you on? I don't want to take up time with it, but what dosage?
Oh, you're right. I'm starting on that first low dosage. They haven't increased.
Oh, that doesn't even hardly do anything. You have to get up. How long have you been on it?
Well, this is my second round, so maybe it's a higher dose now. I have to look.
Okay, just for people.
I've been on 4 times. I've used it 4 times.
4 weeks?
4 weeks, yes.
Oh, that's nothing. That's a month. But you start at 25, which is they started you at the lowest dosage to get your body used to it, and it's basically doesn't do anything at that dosage. I'm up to 12 and a half, and that's where I'm staying. I'm going to drop it down to 10 at the first of the year, but no, 25 doesn't do anything.
Well, that's good to know. Okay, so yeah. Well, you know what? It did restore my desire to drink again. Under the other one I was on, I didn't want to drink. And people tell me that on tirzepatide, they don't want to drink either. But for some reason, I've lost that lack of interest in drinking, and I've been drinking more again. So
now, is this an injection or a pill?
I do the injection. Are you on the pill now?
No, I'm not, because my insurance doesn't cover it. So let's move on. But it's just because you're on the lowest dosage. Keep going up.
Okay, Doc. Appreciate it. Thanks, Doc.
You ready for the news?
Get ready for the news, but with a twist.
Twist, twist. The story's got a twist.
You won't believe what you just missed.
This news just popped into my head because you were talking about Barbie and Oppenheimer. The Odyssey is set to hit the $1 billion mark today.
Yes.
This week, and I'm really happy because once again we talked about this. The whole MAGA, the right wing influencers, all these asswipes think they're going to bring down a movie, and you're not going to bring down a movie. You might scare Target, you might scare Bud Light, but you're not scaring a movie because millions of people want to see a goddamn movie and they don't care what you think. So I'm thrilled that it's going to hit 1 billion. Now, Dr. Fauci, you know how I feel about him. He was a hero. He cared about us when we were dying from AIDS. He served this country for 50 years. I think what's happening to him is disgraceful. I do think that Andrew Wiseman, who I respect, there are certain commentators who I think know what they're talking about, and I trust them. And he's a legal guy he's on MSN now a lot, but I really like him. He's not bad looking either. But he said that there's no way that Fauci's going to jail because he has a constitutional right to claim the Fifth Amendment. He just does. So the fact that they're trying to turn this into something and put him behind bars, is Andrew Wiseman said that's never going to happen. I mean, unless they charge him with perjury or some other shit. But this idea that Rand Paul, something's wrong with that man.
Yes.
That he's in there, even bypassing. They're supposed to be voted on by the full Senate, and he bypassed that and sent it off to Todd Blanche, who should never be the Attorney General. Speaking of stuff, like they were all his opponents, which are very few in the Republican Party. They were all about the slush fund and the IRS exemption. What about the Epstein victims? Todd Blanche made a sweetheart deal with Jeffrey Epstein so he could keep raping women and girls. I mean, that in itself should disqualify this man from being the Attorney General. But anyways, Jeanine Pirro, of course, got pilloried because she told the truth about the reflecting pool. She had to, and people, you and I understand this. MAGA doesn't understand this because the law doesn't mean anything to them, and it's really way above their intellectual level to know that she could be disbarred. You cannot go in front of a judge in a court with a bullshit case, knowing it's a bullshit case. She faced jeopardy for that. She could lose her law license. She's not going to do that. So Trump's on her ass and MAGA's on her ass. I don't care. But I don't like Jeanine Pirro. I think she's horrible, but she's not stupid. She doesn't want to be disbarred. You know what I mean?
Of course not.
Because her life is going to go on, whatever happens to this fool in the White House, who's got a new wig, by the way. I don't know if you noticed that. He's got a new wig. I think it's because his hair's falling out. I'm still hoping. I don't think he's going to make it through the first term. I mean, he's probably shooting up all kinds of speed and shit to keep going, but I don't think he's going to make it through his first term. Democratic Socialists are on the move. Makes me really happy. It's about damn time. And does anyone under 50 even know what a communist is? The Republicans now, they're trying to do this communist shit. They're communists. You're 80 fucking years old, Donald Trump. Nobody even cares about this crap anymore, this communist bullshit. MAGA does because they're stupid. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to stop acting like they're not just a bunch of stupid fucking people who don't read anything. It's not that they don't have the capacity. They don't read anything other than what they see on Newsmax and Fox and the Daily Caller. They just fill their heads with all this right-wing shit. It's not that they're stupid necessarily. But where was I? The whole commie thing. And, and now they're jumping on the names. They've been calling Barack Hussein Obama, as if that's some kind of, that's just a little trigger for these people. So what if his middle name is Hussein? So now it's like, if El Sayed gets elected, never be in, our country's over. And it's all about the name and the bigotry and the racism and the religious bullshit. And then, that was my last thing. Stop making fun of their names. But we live, I'm a happy guy. I'm busy and I don't let this stuff derail me anymore. I really don't. But I'm not going to ignore it. I'm not going to ignore it. I'm not going to act like this. These are not the top news items of the day, because they are. What do you got there?
Yeah. Yeah. Bring that into localizing the news about Fauci. I had it again because I posted one of those things that's going around about pro Fauci, and a lot of it is coming from the queer community who's be a part of saving our community and ending what devastation we're facing. But here in Waukesha County, which was once our most liberal county, now it's Washington County, but they're both bad. A supervisor, much like I was the Dane County supervisor, Waukesha County supervisor Robert Cole called for the public execution of Fauci on Facebook, and then he removed his post. prompting calls and emails to WTMJ News, who did a story about it. After he deleted it, he said, I stated that Fauci should be executed for his crimes. I guess these people think I'm going to be upset and bothered by these phone calls. I couldn't be laughing any harder. Fuck you. How do people elect people like that? Like, it's just bad. But anyway, enough of that. Meanwhile, in Wisconsin, as you see, Fran Hong, who is running in the primary next week on Tuesday for the Democratic seat against in the gubernatorial race, she's running as a socialist Democrat. So all of a sudden, the last couple of weeks, her campaign has picked up steam. She's in Newsweek. She was on Fox. She's trying to keep her calm. Everyone's trying to attack her. Meanwhile, the Democratic Party is kind of shaking in their boots because they're like, if she wins and even wins the primary, that'd be the first time we have a socialist Democrat running, for governor. And if she were to win, she's neck and neck right now with the Republican candidate, Tom Tiffany. It could pave the way for a socialist Democrat in the White House. So big news to follow over the next few weeks. I'm pretty excited about it. Also in the news, in good news, Marc Galceran has made history as Spain's first parliamentarian who has Down syndrome. She took her seat in the regional parliament of Valencia. Her achievement is also widely recognized as a first in Europe. So pretty exciting about that. As he runs up being governor in Wisconsin, as he runs down his time, Governor Evers had the Wisconsin State Fair cream puff bakery named after him. It is now called the Tony Evers Bakery, which is a big thing because cream puffs are big here in Wisconsin. You know that, Mark, right?
Yeah, they're big everywhere.
They're big everywhere. And in gay news, our own Charlie, who watches and listens to our show, went to celebrate gay pride in the Netherlands, World Pride. Madonna just closed the World Pride with a message about HIV prevention, which I thought was really timely, given all the attacks on syringe services right now. And then I wanted to follow up on two quick news stories from the past. I did talk about how great it was that Minneapolis was able to knock down the rules about bathhouses. As you know, Mark, we talked about that. Yeah. But a couple weeks ago, the state of Minnesota passed Grandparents' Happy Hour. It was a measure that removed liquor licensing hurdles, allowing facilities to now serve alcohol freely as long as they notify the state and follow safety rules. Because there's a lot of happy hours at nursing homes, and those kinds of facilities. So now they call it the Grandparents' Happy Hour measure, and it did pass. And in Minnesota, you can now drink happily at your nursing home and not be in trouble. And then lastly, I had told you all about stamps that you can buy from this company. And they're cheaper than the normal forever stamps. But then I saw at the post office when I had to go and mail a package, Mark, they're warning people not to buy those. Now, I can't get in trouble for buying them. The website still exists. But apparently it's really hard to figure out counterfeit postage stamps versus real postage stamps. They haven't figured out how to prevent that. And with the cost of postage stamps, they better figure out how to protect themselves. So that's my news, Mark.
Be careful out there, people. There's a lot of fake stamps going around.
This is big news. By the way, don't I look like Santa Claus? I haven't shaved in a week. This is not good, Mark. Look.
Must be the terzipatide.
It's making me into a man. Yes.
Okay, it's time for our next feature.
It's a hit.
We're gonna do the fun facts after it's a hit.
We forgot our fun facts.
Yeah, it's okay. We're gonna do them after this. We're not gonna miss them because it's a big part.
Because they're fun.
People love it. People love it. I got my hit, and then a Prance is going to be telling us about his addiction. The first step in knowing you have a problem is admitting you need help or something like that.
Oh, nice.
So for me, my big thing is game nights. I mean, our friends Phil and Jim live up the road. We hang out with them a lot. They're going to Philly with us. I mentioned that for my panel. They're 80 and 81. They've been together for 51 years.
Nice. Congrats.
And we just love hanging out with them. And once a week, well, not every week now, but used to be a restaurant called Love and Oven that was really good. The woman stopped doing the restaurant because she just didn't want to do that workload anymore. But she caters meals once a week. She cooks meals in the church kitchen in Frenchtown. She gets to use their kitchen and she does whatever arrangement she has. But she's a really good cook. So we order for them probably at least twice a month. and I'll go pick up the food. And now we take it over to Phil and Jim's. We have a really nice dinner because they have central air and a really cool house. They have a really cool house in the woods. And then we play Uno. So my recommendation, because that's what this is too. It's not just hits. It's also stuff that we like doing. Is game nights. Have game nights with people. Get back into human connection. Don't just text like Rick and I do, or we podcast once a week. That's how we stay in touch. But actually hang out with people, eat a meal, play a game. It's so much fun. That's my hit, Rick.
Oh, I like it. It's good. I am one that if I see someone show up in my house, like we'll sometimes just invite people over. Me and my friend Alejandro hang out and say, "Hey guys, come on over." If they show up with a game in their hand, I'm like, run. So I'm the opposite. I get invited to a lot of game nights. I know people enjoy them. There's a lot of places.
This is 4 people. It's not like 10 people playing a game. It's 4 people.
And once I get sucked into it, I actually like it. I know in Madison there are, and I'm sure everywhere, there's tons of places where you can play games in a coffee house or whatever. And,
interesting.
People always look like they're having a good time. So
what's your recommendation?
Well, my recommendation is Hadestown when it comes to a theater near you. I mentioned on a couple episodes back that it was playing in theaters. It was supposed to only be in 5 days in movie theaters where it's the stage production. It succeeded Hamilton in views in the movie theater. So that's kind of amazing. I went to see it a second time. Again, similar to the story I shared about Zendaya and Tom, the 2 leads in it happened to be a real life couple. And having found that out, seeing it a second time made it really interesting for me to see their energy and their dynamic and added another layer of romance to the story, which I think is absolutely a beautiful story. Also, I would recommend going see Superman, even though everybody else is. My nephews both saw it 3 times. I'm going on a second time. The cast is great. The lead character, who I won't spoiler alert, but she came from what do you call that series? Stranger Things. The main guy from Walking Dead is in the movie, so they used a lot of sci-fi actors. So did you not know that part? It's good.
Did not know it. Thank you for informing me.
You're welcome. And then one last thing I want to mention is if you are on Spotify, I highly recommend you find the channel called Release Radar. So look for Release Radar. On it, it will have all the top hits. Like I'm going to hear Madonna's new song and her top song. Yeah, so it's doing, and that's Mark when I texted you about our girl Cascada. Her new song called Utopia was on there, and I'm like, wait a minute, she has a new song, and yeah, she sure does. She had put out an album too, Mark, I'll point out in 2025 with just covers of different songs. So go check it out. We love Cascada, you know that.
Yes, I mentioned it to Frank, and he was kind of like non-reactive. I think maybe because it's the past. I mean, that's all part of his previous life that we don't live anymore.
I wonder if they write each other once in a while. Probably not even anymore.
I don't think so. I don't think they stay in touch at all.
Yeah. For those that don't know, Mark's husband used to represent acts like Cascada. And Release Radar on Spotify. Check it out.
Check it out. And Spotify sent me a thing because I have my Fearsome Fiction podcast and the Twist, of course, is on Spotify. I got a little thing saying that one of my episodes had used a song from Ludacris.
What?
Yeah, and it's like you have to respond to this. And I wrote, one of the boxes was "This is not on my show," which is what I said because I listened to it. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Yeah, it's copyrighted material. They come after you, but I didn't use it. Why would I use a Ludacris beat on my show?
Oh yeah.
Now Prance is coming in. He's got a confession to make, people, but don't abandon him over this. All right.
It's time to sail away on a super yacht with one of my longest-running guilty pleasures, all things below deck. I never intended to become an addict, but here we are. From the original series with Captain Lee to my favorite, Captain Sandy, I've seen them all and hunger for more. If Bravo puts a hull in the water and a chief stew within screaming distance of a crew mess, I'm there. Snacks in hand, fully invested in the fate of people I will never meet who are currently sobbing in a crew cabin over a text message. My current watch, Below Deck Med, with the one and only Captain Sandy. Being a married lesbian gets lots of extra points. And the romances, the glorious, doomed, entirely engineered romances. Everyone on that boat knows the cameras are rolling, everyone falls in love anyway, and I'm there for every single doomed showmance like it's a Greek tragedy with better lighting. Bottom line, it's a guilty pleasure, and I've made peace with that a long time ago. Anchors down, brain off, Captain Sandy on. Perfect for binge watching, with another season heading off on a first charter somewhere.
Have you ever seen Below Deck?
No, I know you guys love it.
Well, you know, we don't influence Prance.
I know. Well, Prance is going
We
to do his
just
own
happen
thing.
to align. He and I just happen to align quite a bit. Yeah, I like Below Deck. I love Captain Sandy. She's a lesbian. She's married, and she's a really good mentor. I mean, as far as what I see on the TV, I don't know what she's like in real life.
No, that's cool. I mean, you write good, strong lesbian characters too. Yeah, no, I know that about Prance. You can't. I mean, he leads that. His parents told me, I called them the other day, because I thought I heard Prance doing a local news story recently, and I was worried, like, is he freelancing or what's he up to? But, we're not exclusive. I just want you to know. But his parents named him Prance because they knew the minute he came out that he was going to prance through life. Like, don't touch me.
They were proud.
I love
of
that
him.
attitude.
Super proud of him. I loved it. Now, on a calendar stuff, we go to Provincetown. I mentioned that. Now, I think we're going to do a show from Provincetown. I think it's going to be fun. Probably the same Friday we always do. The Friday that we leave, we're not doing a show. I'm giving this a heads up. Just 2 weeks from today, on the 21st, there will not be a Twist podcast because I just not going to have time. But I'm going to do one.
Remember, we got to remind Charlie he might be there that weekend.
Oh yeah.
He likes. Yeah. So the 21st is the weekend. Everybody look for that hat you're looking at right now. You see it on the streets.
Well, we don't get there until Saturday. The 21st we leave. It's a Friday.
Oh, okay. So 22nd.
I'm just saying we're going to have a show while I'm in Provincetown. Now,
yes,
fun facts, of course, are about August. Naturally, August is the only month that can never begin on the same day of the week as December in a given year.
What?
Who knew? That's crazy.
Oh,
it has
fun.
no official U.S. federal holidays. Can you believe it? It's the only month besides June that doesn't have any federal holidays. The Perseid meteor shower peaks in mid-August, one of the most reliable and visible meteor showers. I've never seen a meteor shower. And this is a great place to do it where I live because, and the woods, I could go outside and just look up and see a million stars, but the dark woods scare me. I'm always afraid that, or like a raccoons or something is going to attack me. The word dog days that everybody has heard of refers to August's heat. It's why Romans sometimes sacrificed a brown dog at the start of the month to appease Sirius, the dog star, hoping to prevent the crops from being ruined by the heat. I mean, that's sad, though. August is a rare case of a month that named directly after a still living political figure, Augustus. Huh? He was actually in. Of course, they're going to rename one of the months after Trump while he's still alive. So I don't know which one. We should probably ask our readers which month they want to give up to Trump. Some notable birthdays: Alfred Hitchcock, Mary Shelley, Dorothy Parker, Whitney Houston, Barack Hussein Obama, and Neil Armstrong were all born in August.
I like that, Mark. I like that touch you just threw in there. It's good.
That's my fun fact.
Yeah.
You got anything fun or no?
I do. Yes, I do. So, fun fact. We were just on break and Mark said, we had to take a little break. You guys didn't know because my computer decided to restart during the show. So Mark's like, I'm going to go pee. And I got to thinking, pee, what is pee? Why do we call it pee? You know what? Do you know why, Mark? Do you know the origin of the word pee? It's a fun fact.
No, I don't know.
No, it is piss. The word was used in France. It was pisser back in the day. And pisser, think about it. The sound is alliterative. Like
pissoir. Yeah.
No, like I'm peeing in the toilet. And then people didn't want to do it. So in 1800s, they started changing it to just pee. Like the F word, is short for the F word, but P is short for pisser. So I'm going to start bringing back the word piss. Why is it offensive? Why did we?
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
It may make you, just hearing the word makes you want to piss, like, piss,
Yeah, I better hang on. I got to go.
Another fun fact on the food side of things. Stanley Tucci. So my friend Maria, hey Maria, she's listening to the show, new friend out in Phoenix. We have followers in the desert, Mark, but she told me and sent me a story about Stanley Tucci. She knows I like to eat corn. She's like, this is how Stanley Tucci eats it. So my friend Michelle, who loves corn, came over with a loaf of bread. So you take bread and you put the butter on the bread. Get this, Mark. You butter up a good piece of bread. You put the salt on the corn cob, and then you take the bread and you rub it all over it. So the bread is getting, you see my movements here, is getting the corn all nice in that way, buttery, and then the corn is getting the bread salty, and then you eat them together. Try it with your husband.
Never
It's
heard
really
of it.
good.
I like it.
Yep, it's good. So I want to thank Maria for that and Stanley Tucci for that too. And then one last thing, I was sitting at the bar last night where actually, ironically, I met Maria and where I drank my 4 beers that are causing my weight gain. See, it all goes full circle here. And I was talking to my friend Kevin, who bartends there. Think about this. And I looked it up. There is no health code limit on coaster reuse. So health boards don't like say after using a coaster 5 times, you have to toss it because no food or drink actually touches it. It's just something, so you can't be regulated. Health code is really for the regulation of food and drink. So you can have a coaster that a bartender's used 50 times. That's kind of gross and skank to me, isn't it?
Well, it's on the bottom of your glass. I don't know. I don't go to bars.
I know, but I think it's nasty. Yeah, you wouldn't use a coaster for a soda at a restaurant, would you? Nah, they don't do that. It's a drinking thing.
I don't think so.
And fun fact, you can use a coaster and not get in trouble. Use it 20, 30, 40 times, apparently. Hell falls apart on you.
Coaster
Yeah,
freedom.
cool. Yeah.
Okay.
That bugs my ass.
What bugs me, you know what a humble brag is?
Yes.
I don't like them and I don't use them. I will say I'm excited to be on a panel in Philadelphia with certainly with the other authors and one that I know, Ann Aptaker. But I don't do that. Like, I'm so humbled to be on a panel. I'm so humbled to have won an Emmy. I'm so honored to be appreciated for what I've been doing for 50 goddamn years.
Give me the fucking award.
I don't do humble brags. I think they're bullshit. Like, if you won an award, just say I won an award. It's exciting. That's great. It's awesome.
Yep. Yep.
But we earned this shit. There's no
We
reason to be humble about it. You know, I'm
Yeah.
humbled when somebody tells me I'm a nice person, or that they think that I do a good job,
Or that you're cute.
or they say I create a safe space. That makes me feel good.
Yeah.
But I'm not humbled for an achievement. I just don't play that game. I don't like them. What do you think?
The one I don't like, and I heard at the bar last night, the bartender was asking someone, "Hey, do you know John Smith?" And the guy's like, "No, but I've heard the name." I think that's an excuse. No one's heard the fucking name. You
Yeah.
just heard the name for the first time. Don't go telling me. You know, you know what I mean? What else?
Well, I will say when somebody will go like, "Have you read this author or whatever?" Like, no, I know the name, but I've never read them.
Okay, well, and you're probably telling the truth, humbly. You know, like
Yeah.
because you read a lot, humbly. You know.
Well, I used to. I don't hardly ever read anymore because I write all the time. Too busy
Just
to
write.
read.
You know, those who do, those who don't review or whatever. You know.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's a big boo. This is kind of sad, but got to thinking about my friends that are in relationships, and think about your own friends that are in relationships. I have more friends, and historically, I've always had more friends that are in bad relationships at any one time than those in good relationships. That's sad. Do you follow me?
It's weird. I don't have a lot of friends in bad relationships.
Well, yeah, you just talked
But
about
I don't have a
friends.
lot of friends. You have a lot of friends. I don't actually know that many people.
Yeah, so maybe well, also, like, you know, and on the good side, you know, you're talking about relationships the last 50 years. It's good. You don't always have to have that relationship be in a shining moment. It can be in a dark moment once in a while too, but sustain, folks, work through those. Either get rid of the relationship or move on. And then I do want to mention one final boo. Gino Sagers was set to go into Broadway's to replace the lead in Hadestown. He was going to play Hades. And guess what? Don't talk shit and don't attack trans folks. They found out that years ago he gave anti-trans remarks made on social media. They resurfaced in some videos, and they immediately took him out of the cast before he could even go in the show. One of the actors in it is a trans woman who's getting a lot of attention, and good for them for taking him out of the cast. So boo to you that think you can talk shit and still attack trans folks. You can't, and it will come back to bite you in the ass. Trust me.
Correct.
That's it. Correct. Over and out, loud and clear, and queer.
Over to Joe for her wisdom.
The early bird gets the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese. Experience is what you get right after you needed it. I used to think I was indecisive, but now I'm not so sure.
I really like that last one. I'm not so sure. I was indecisive, but I'm not so sure. That's the kind of thing that you would share to Facebook.
She's funny, isn't she?
She is. Now I got a final question.
Oh, yes. Wait, don't I have to answer last week's final question?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask me that because I forgot it.
We'll do it next week.
I didn't have
Okay.
a chance. I'm so busy.
It's
But
okay.
let's
What's
just
our
start
question
over.
today?
Start over. This is for next week, people. What is one piece of advice you were given and never took? It could be good, bad, or indifferent.
Nice.
I like it. My example is forget about being a writer, go to trade school. Which is true. I ignored it, and look at me now.
Humble you.
That's the question. You ready for quotes?
I am.
Maya Angelou said, I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it. And Winston Churchill said, we shall draw from the heart of suffering itself the means of inspiration and survival. Good advice, for this time we're living in.
I like it. I got a couple quotes. One on the poignant side. A friend had shared this the other day. Coincidentally, she wasn't aware that the same day I found out about 2 deaths. And it's my friend Mario's nephew and my friend Jody's niece. So Jody and Mario are 2 of my favorite people in the world. So seeing them hurt, and I knew Jody's niece very well. And they're both being buried today in Shreveport. So it's a pretty intense day. But my friend had sent me this meme, and I forwarded it to them, and I forwarded it to my mom, who's my prayer warrior. We pray together a lot, my mom and I. And then while I was up north, Mark, she had it framed. It's so good. Here's the quote. Some nights I pray with words. Some nights I just sit in the dark and let God read my silence. He's fluent in both. So sometimes it's just okay to sit silent. And then my last quote is actually from Lonnie Anderson. Speaking of August birthdays, Lonnie Anderson on August 5th would have been 81. She died just short of her 80th birthday. So she would have been older. She'd been like 86. But in she just died last year. In 2017, she said she was still proud of that episode where someone made a comment about Les Nessman being gay. A colleague was accused of being gay. He was on the ledge. He was certain his career was finished. He was going to jump. And then Anderson's character, Jennifer Marlowe, who, by the way, was supposed to be just the dumb receptionist, but she worked really hard to rewrite history and make that character actually the smartest person in the building. So she was really a clever character. But she said 5 words about that situation. And she gave credit to the creator of the series who wrote those words. And she said, so what if he is? So just remember that when people are speculating and saying things about people, so what if they are? Let it be. Let it be. In the words of Lonnie Anderson's character, Jennifer Marlowe. There you go. That's my quote. So what if they are?
Okay, everybody, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week. And this is Mark and Rick with the Twist Podcast. Bye.
Bye.
That's twisted.
Welcome to the Twist with Mark and Rick. Always fun, always clicking the best way. Here to stay.
That's twisted.
Images of Josephine all over the place.
Stay tuned.
Accessible to people of all different
Yeah, you
levels.
know it's time to start. Tune in, let's play our part. Coming to you from the heart. Entertainment.
That's twisted.